All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Absolutely. Always ready to dig in.
Okay, so today we're looking at, let me check, November 21st.
November 21st. All right.
Yeah. And just right off the bat, something really struck me in this entry. Um, it starts with this person talking about spending money.
Oh, spending habits. Let's hear it.
Yeah, spending habits, but like in a very specific way. They talk about how they used to spend money like a millionaire for a day.
Ooh, I like that. Millionaire for a day.
Right. But the catch is they link this to when they were drinking.
Interesting. So there's this connection between maybe reckless spending and alcohol.
Exactly. And that got me thinking, have you ever felt that kind of urge to splurge? I mean, maybe not because of alcohol, but just, to feel a certain way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think we've all been there at some point, right? Like retail therapy or that feeling of, I deserve this.
I deserve this, yes, or I need this to feel.
Important, confident.
Yeah. And I think that ties into what the source is saying, right? That feeling of being a millionaire for a day, even if it's just an illusion.
It definitely makes you think about the psychology behind our spending habits. Like, is it really about the thing we're buying, or is it about the feeling we're trying to buy?
It's about the feeling. I like that.
Right. And the source specifically mentions feeling like a millionaire. So it makes you wonder, is overspending sometimes tied to a desire for importance, even if it's fleeting?
That is a really good point. They're trying to buy importance, but it's temporary, right? A millionaire for a day.
Exactly. It's not a sustainable feeling.
And that makes the contrast with how they talk about their spending now even more striking.
Okay, how so? How has it changed?
Well, now they're all about using their money as it should be spent.
Should be spent. Okay.
It's like they've had this realization.
Right.
And this idea of should really got me thinking, what does responsible spending really mean?
Right, right. That's a good question. Because on the surface, it could just be about, like, avoiding waste, right?
Yeah, that's the obvious answer.
Don't buy things you don't need. Budget carefully.
Right. Clip coupons, all that. But is there something more to it?
I think so. I think the source is pointing to something deeper than just avoiding waste. It's about aligning your spending with your values.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like being intentional with your choices.
Yeah.
Asking yourself, does this purchase truly reflect what's important to me?
I like that. So it becomes less about deprivation and more about,
Alignment, making sure your money is working for you, not just disappearing on things that don't really matter.
I love that. And it's fascinating how the source then goes on to talk about generosity,
Hmm.
almost as if they're wrestling with this balance between being financially responsible and being generous.
Yeah, they actually say some people could maybe be more generous.
Yeah, but then they say, at least they're not throwing money away,
Hmm.
which, okay, a little judgmental maybe,
A little bit, yeah.
but it does raise an interesting point, right? Like, how do we find that balance between being financially responsible and being generous?
It's a constant balancing act, isn't it? And I think it's something a lot of people struggle with.
Do you ever feel that tension? Like, you want to give to a good cause, but you also have to, be responsible, pay your bills, save for the future.
Oh, absolutely. All the time.
Yeah.
Because you want to be generous and support things you care about.
Right, exactly.
But then also you have to be realistic about your own financial situation.
So how do we navigate that?
Well, I think it's important to remember that being financially responsible actually empowers us to be more generous in the long run.
Oh, I see. You're saying if we're more secure.
Exactly. If we're more financially secure, then we have a stronger foundation to give from. It's not just about the money, though. I think true generosity goes beyond just the financial aspect.
Okay, explain that.
It comes from a genuine desire to make a difference, to contribute to something bigger than ourselves. It's about finding causes that truly resonate with you.
Right, things that you actually care about, not just giving because you feel obligated.
Exactly. And it doesn't always have to be a huge financial contribution. It can be volunteering your time, sharing your skills, or even just spreading awareness about a cause. It's about finding ways to support what matters to you in a way that feels meaningful.
I love that perspective. It's not about the amount, but the heart behind it.
Exactly.
So moving on, the entry then shifts gears a little bit and goes into a meditation for the day.
Okay, meditation. Interesting. What's the focus?
Well, there's this really powerful contrast that's presented. It talks about living in quiet desperation on the one hand
Quiet desperation. Wow. Yeah, I think we all know that feeling.
versus being at home and comfortable in the world.
Ah, now that sounds much better.
Right. Two very different states of being.
Mhm.
And I'm curious, which of those resonates more with you on a personal level?
Ooh, that's a deep question. I think we all crave that feeling of belonging, that sense of being at home and comfortable in the world. But it can be so
It
elusive.
really can.
Like, how do we actually get there? The source seems to suggest that maybe finding peace within ourselves is the foundation.
Finding peace within. Okay, so not necessarily about external circumstances.
Right. Because even when things are tough on the outside, if we have that inner peace,
We can weather the storm.
exactly. And the source actually makes a specific connection between that inner peace and financial well-being.
Oh, interesting. Say more about that.
They're basically saying that letting go of financial stress can help us experience that peace of mind more fully, which, makes total sense when you think about it.
It does, because if you're constantly worrying about money,
Exactly. It's hard to be present and enjoy life.
it's like that weight is always on your shoulders.
It is. And when we're free from that burden, or at least when we're managing it well,
And there's more space for that inner peace to grow.
exactly, there's more space to breathe, to connect with ourselves, to appreciate the good things in our lives.
So inner peace and finances, they're more connected than we might realize.
Absolutely. They influence each other.
And there's this other really intriguing idea in this section. It talks about how faith takes the sting out of the winds of adversity.
Faith takes the sting. I like that imagery.
Right. And it made me think about faith in a broader sense. Not just faith in a higher power, but also faith in ourselves. Faith in our ability to overcome challenges.
Because challenges are inevitable, right? Life is full of them.
Exactly. And this idea is saying peace isn't about the absence of hardship. It's about how we navigate hardship,
It's about that resilience, that inner strength to keep going even when things are tough.
because we trust that we can handle it.
And that leads us beautifully into the prayer for the day, which really ties all these themes together.
Yeah, let's hear it.
The source prays, I pray that I may be more comfortable in my way of living. I pray that I may feel more at home and at peace within myself.
Wow, that's so simple yet so profound.
Right, it's this deep longing to feel at home within ourselves.
And that brings us full circle, doesn't it?
It does. Back to those core themes we've been talking about. Financial responsibility, generosity, inner peace. They're all interconnected. Like when we align our spending with our values.
When we find that balance between saving and giving,
Maybe that helps us feel more at home in the world.
it's a powerful thought. And, the source doesn't tell us exactly how to do all this.
They leave that up to us.
Right. Which is, I think, the best part. It's a challenge. So let's recap what we've explored today. We've talked about that link between spending and self-worth.
That feeling of wanting to buy importance.
Yes. That we talk about the importance of being both financially responsible and degenerous.
Finding that balance.
Exactly. And finally, that underlying quest for inner peace.
That sense of being at home with ourselves.
Now, here's the challenge for everyone listening. Think about this. What's one concrete action you could take this week to move your spending closer to what truly matters to you? That's something to really ponder.
Something to ponder indeed. And until next time, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
See you next time.